brewery is located about 25 minutes from the hop fields in Oregon. We actually use liquid nitrogen to temporarily freeze, I should say, those hops. The whole brewery looks very cool, it's very cinematic, and then we shred them through like a leaf mulcher so that we can expose the luculin glands on the inside and get more surface area. It's a cool process. We refine it every year. Every year we change it a little bit, but this year we've done.
Thank you so much for watching. Your views and support make these conversations entirely possible. Now, hitting that subscribe button is also transformative to the channel, but oddly, 73% of you have not done so yet. So if you like what you see, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons to fuel our growth, our clout, and our ability to attract even more awesome guests. Thank you and cheers.
Well, I ended up judging with none other than Ben Edmonds. And I've been trying to corner him for I don't know how long, ever since we briefly met at CBC back in May. Well, you got a huge award. But before we go there, Ben, tell me about where we are. I mean, you and I know where we are. But I'd like the audience to know what's right in there behind us.
Yeah, we're right in the heart, in the thick of it. This is we're standing here on Friday afternoon of Great American Beer Festival judging. So in the room behind us, there's about 120 kind of judges, industry experts who are evaluating.
And then me.
Yeah. Somehow they let us sneak in, right? Yeah.
No. Gosh, me.
But so it's the last set of flights. It's getting finished right now. So it should be. We'll find out the awards on
Saturday.
On Saturday morning. And so I said it's Friday. It's actually Thursday. It feels like it's already been a long week.
I know.
But yeah, Saturday morning we'll find out the winners. But I think what did Chris Williams say? There's 9,300 beers in the competition, and
something like that, or 10,000, close enough.
And just under 300 will win a medal. So it's incredibly competitive and so fun to judge. And you get to
and the who's who that's in there. We had Randy Mosher and Keith Villa and a lot of notable names.
Yeah,
and Ben Edmonds with the Russell Schehrer Award. So talk about that. I mean, I saw in the write-up, and I remember you being introduced as a brewer's brewer.
Yeah.
That's a pretty intimidating description.
Yeah, well, first off, I mean, was and am hugely honored to have received that award. I mean, there's only 27 people, myself included, who've won it since it was created, one person per year. So to think that like somehow, I don't know how I sneaked through, and they chose me, but it feels really.
A brewer's brewer.
It was really a wonderful. I was kind of in shock when Paul Gatza called me and told me that I had won. I really didn't believe him for the first 15 minutes or so. I thought I was getting punked, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think that one thing that I like to be, I try and be very pragmatic as a brewer. There's some brewers who are very technical in terms of brewing science, or some brewers who are very technical in terms of engineering, others who are kind of very, pub or kind of public-facing and marketing focused. There's so many ways and kind of that people can excel in the role of being a brewer or a brewmaster, whether that be in a production or pub setting, whatever size brewery. And I think that when we talk about the idea of like a brewer's brewer, I try and approach things from a very pragmatic way, which is to say, what matters at the end of the day is the beer in the glass. Everything has to be in service to that. So if you can have the most tricked out, well-engineered brewery in the world, and it makes no difference if the beer that you're putting into that glass doesn't taste great. There's no such thing as your brand or your brewery or your beer other than what is in front of a consumer. Otherwise it doesn't exist. So to me, I always start from that point, and in that sense, I'm a very flavor-driven, like kind of results-driven brewer.
I noticed that in your judging.
Yeah, and not necessarily getting caught up in the weeds of engineering or the science side. Though I love that stuff too.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this season. Now, I have been talking to a number of people. Everybody's busy this weekend.
Yeah.
And what all is going on this weekend besides JBF?
Yeah, well, probably today or tomorrow is the last day of Oregon hop harvest. So back in Portland at the brewery, our team has been working pretty much doing double time in the last 30 days in order to receive and process fresh hops for all the fresh hop beers we do. And it's the one time of year, and I don't know if your audience is totally familiar with what fresh hop beers are, but especially these wet hop beers that are made in the Northwest. But the idea that, we're basically getting fresh from the farm, unkilned hops, and you can only get that during harvest,
These are whole cone?
These are whole cone hops.
Wow, so this is like a big batch of flowers.
Yeah, basically coming into the brewery from our brewery is located about 25 minutes from the hop fields in Oregon. So these hops are coming off the picker
Yeah.
and into bags and into our brewery and then into beer, and that whole process is taking about less than 2 to 3 hours. So you're going from field to beer contact in that short of time, and it's really important to do it as fast as you can, because we've kept them for even 6 or 7 hours and they will go downhill even within that. They lose some aroma potency. Of course, when you kiln them, it changes them fundamentally, but you can't really sit on wet hops, unkilned hops, that is, for very long.
So how do you process hops?
Yeah, wet hops.
Wet
yeah.
hops in the beer.
Yeah, so we're unique. What most people do, right, is that they take them, they'll use their lauter tun as a hop back or a hop jack, right?
Yep.
And put wort onto it, and then they'll cast out that wort to the fermenter. We actually do all of our
hot wort or cold wort?
Hot wort, yeah. We're typically we're actually one of the few breweries who really emphasize cold side.
Yeah.
So we do all of our fresh hop additions in the cellar, kind of like a final dry hop. So what
Okay.
we do is we actually use liquid nitrogen to temporarily freeze, I should say, those hops. And
These
then
whole cone hops, fresh ones.
yeah. And then we shred them through like a leaf mulcher, so that we can expose the luculin glands on the inside and get more surface area. And then those go into big, large mesh bags that go inside the tank, and we rack finished beer on top of them. So it's a pretty different process than what most people are doing. And in my opinion, what we're able to do in that is really get the last hops the beer touches, which are often the ones that you smell the most, are these fresh hops.
How do you freeze that many with nitrogen? That's no small task, isn't it?
Well, because we're shredding them, we're actually able to use a lot less
No,
hop.
how do you freeze them in the nitrogen?
We just spray them with liquid nitrogen in these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it
like a
takes-
fire extinguisher.
Yeah, pretty much. And the whole brewery looks very cool. It's very cinematic.
I wish I'd
you
have to send me.
There are videos of this online.
Yeah,
You're welcome to. Yeah, I'll send you one of them.
Please.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a very cool process. But I think sometimes people don't quite understand the idea is like that. I'm not trying to freeze the hops like the way you would freeze a chicken leg
for
or something for
storage.
storage. We're really just freezing them so that we can actually shred them, because if you take those wet hops and try and put them through the shredding process, they just gum it up.
Yeah.
So you can't just do that. You have to kind of do some process to make them shatterable or shreddable, and that's
So
why
can't you just put them in the dry hop bags? I know I've seen Sierra Nevada's process, and they've got pillowcases, and they just stuff kilned whole cone hops in there. Why can't you do that?
Yeah, you could. I mean, I think that the difference there is that in order to get the same aroma impact, you have to use so much more hops that you're really getting a lot more plant matter in the beer. And by shredding them, you're really getting at those glands where all the resins and aroma compounds are, right? The oils and resins that contribute to kind of hop flavor
So
and
after
aroma.
it goes through the leaf shredder, what do they look like? Tea leaves?
Yeah.
Oh, chewed up?
Yeah, kind of like shredded tea leaves is a good way to think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a cool process. We refine it every year. Every year we change it a little bit. But this year we've done 10 fresh hop beers, and we're just finishing up. So the last one actually got processed today. We brought in some Idaho 7 from Crosby Hop Farm, and that went into one of our hazy IPAs.
Well, I didn't fully appreciate how famous Breakside is, but when I was talking to Ben Keys, and Ben said, well, have you ever had a Breakside beer? And I said, no, I'm not familiar with it. Because on the East Coast, we
don't sell any beer on the East Coast,
And he said, you got to go there and you got to try it. So for those that want to get a fresh hop beer, when are they going to be available? And how do they get one?
They're available right now, so in September of 2023. And they'll probably be around. Our beers tend to be gone usually by about October 15th, so I would guess that we have another 3 weeks where some of the beers, not all 10 of them are available, but usually by the end of October they're all gone. And so it's an annual thing. That's one of the things that's really beautiful about fresh hops, is that you can only do it once a year. There's no really, there are these products out there that kind of approximate fresh hop character, some of like the frozen fresh cryo, things like that, and they're wonderful products, but they don't quite deliver the same punch or the same exact sensory profile.
Packaged?
Yeah, they are packaged.
Okay,
Our
so-
beer is packaged.
Okay. Okay, so it isn't just in the tap room. You can go
No,
buy
you
it.
can get cans as well, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Are you going to have any here?
we have a fresh hop beer on the floor of GABF. It's our flagship IPA, Breakside IPA, that then we conditioned on some fresh Chinook from Coleman Farms. And it's got this really cool kind of pineapple expression.
Are you going to be pouring it?
We will be pouring it, yeah. I'll be pouring it right at 5:30 when the festival starts today.
Okay,
So-
I'll be up there.
Yeah,
I'll be
we'll
up
have,
there.
I think we have 12 beers at our booths, and that's one of them.
Well, GABF's a lot of fun. I've had a blast. This is my first GABF festival, while it's not my first judging But speaking of that, we're almost back on again, and I think
Yeah.
we've got to head back in there in a minute. But it was just great to catch Ben, and for those of you that are AHA members, we're going to be having Ben on the Zymergy Live coming up. So I look forward to
The end of November, right?
Yep.
No.
Yep. So that will be fun. So look for that. So anyway, Ben, thank you much.
Yeah,
for
my
doing
pleasure.
This. Cheers.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
sorry
you.
you're having to endure me at the judging table.
We're having a great time. We got to go do a few more flights now. Give some medals in a second.
Cheers.
Now let me know what you think about Ben's focus on brewing seasonally. And if you found value in this video, please smash that like button. It really does support us in creating more content like this. And check out these videos on the screen. They've been carefully selected just for you, and they're filled with even more brewing insights and tips. Thank you and cheers.